Hi, I'm Debbie from Simply Special Crafts. Today we're going to film the fourth and final installment in the Stepping into Christmas video from Hunkydory Crafts. This is, in this final selection, we're going to do these beautiful church cards, we're going to do this pretty robins, and of course one of the most popular in this set is the train. And we're going to have great fun working on these together. If you enjoy these videos and want to see more of them, please hit that subscribe button. That tells me that you value what you're seeing. And if you hit the little bell behind the subscribe button, that will notify you that there's a new video available. Or better yet, look down in the comments, sign up for our newsletter, and when you sign up for our newsletter, I will let you know that a new video is available. I'll send you a link to that video and to all the supplies that I used in making the cards that you see today. So let's go ahead and get started here. Now, I've gotten some feedback from some of you that I wasn't giving you enough time to see each individual card, so I'm going to start by giving you a view of each of the cards, so that you can do a screenshot if you want to and save the samples. And then we're going to do these cards together. This first set that we're looking at here is the Do You Hear What I Hear Deco Large collection. Beautiful choir in front of a Christmas tree and the church in the background. So pretty. I like the colors in this set. I love that rich deep red with a light blue, and we found enough that we easily had enough pieces here to complete 3 cards where Hunkydory said you would get 1. So I think this is a lot of fun. Remember that in the individual sets you'll get 2.5 pieces of paper, and I will show those to you next. Let's take a look at what's in the actual kit, and we'll just go ahead while we're at it and put these cards together for you. Open it up here. Remember, I've just gotten another email from a customer saying, hey, I think I'm missing pieces from my luxury set. When you buy the luxury set, you get 2 of each. You get 2 of these sheets, 2 of these sheets. You get 1 of these sheets because it's stacked and both of these are on one base sheet. So these are intended to be cut in half. When you buy the single kits, you get 2.5 pieces of paper in it. So the very first thing I like to do always is to identify what my base pieces are going to be. And clearly I have a base piece here, I have a base piece here, and then I'm going to choose the most complete base piece that I have here to use as the third base. And that's obviously going to be this one here that's got the cathedral in the background. Let me pull that out quickly. You'll notice I'm punching towards the front. I'm pulling my image forward as I'm punching it out. Hunkydory's die cutting is really, really good, but occasionally any die cut piece can get snags on it, and if there are any snags in the paper, we want them to be on the back and not on the front. After I've punched out my first piece, then I usually just take a look at what I've got left and I start distributing the pieces between the base sheets that I have available. Now, this one's a little bit more challenging in that it has just 2 large pieces. This is interesting. Come on. I'm going to start up here. It's got 2 large pieces, so I don't have an even distribution between my pieces. When you can't tell for sure what you got happening, it's good to look at the back. And that just had a little pull out. Now, one of the things I've said before is that when we are breaking these up in more pieces than they intended, we want to watch for, before we just pop all these out, make sure that you have whatever the pop out is in your image. Now in this case, this doorway right here is in all three of my base sheets. So I can pop that right out and allow the layering to do its job. So I'm going to put one here. I'm going to put this one on my next sheet. Can you see me okay there, Brittany? Am I staying in camera frame?
You are.
Okay. Brittany's our camera person today. Say hi, Brittany.
Hi.
And I'm going to give this piece of the lamp post. I have to decide who gets that. Because whoever gets that is probably going to need a wreath. I'm going to go ahead and put this one here. I'm going to give the wreath to this set, to this image down here. And let's see, what are these little pieces? This is the little base. I think that since I gave larger pieces, I'm going to give both of these to this end piece down here. And I'm going to get a larger group of carolers to go on this end piece as well. And let's, in fact, this is actually a bigger carolers group because it has the bench in it too. So I'm going to give that here. I'm going to give this group of 3 to our first one down here. I'm going to give one more here. One more here. And that's pretty much it. My goal is that everybody should get at least 3 layers on something, and we are going to have that because here I have my base layer, I have this layer, I have this layer. Here I've got this layer, and these 2 become my extra base layers, and this one has 3 layers. You can see that it actually has 4. So I think we're in pretty good shape here. I'm actually going to trade it 2 here. I often do that. You know, there's no magical formula here, guys. I just put things where I think they look good, trying to keep that basic rule of thumb that I get at least 3 pieces on everything. So let's go ahead and start layering this up. When I'm layering this, as you've seen before, I'm not going to use an amazing number of foam squares, although sometimes in order to get to these smaller pieces, you either need to cut these in half or use the little 3x3 foam squares that we have. You won't get those in your class kit, but you will. You do have them available through our store. This has a nice complete image in the background, so I'll go ahead and take that piece out, use my extra little half here. And we're going to just put a few. I don't put foam squares on every little tiny nook and cranny. My basic rule of thumb is I like to get them about an inch apart, roughly. Sometimes, like this one, I might get them a little closer. But I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to peel these and layer this up. Let me give you one more view of what's here, and then I'm going to layer all of these pieces together. So for this one, I've got these pieces for this set. I'll stick these back on here. Let's pull this one in closer. And for this one, I'm just going to have these pieces here. I'm finding that I actually don't have as many pieces for this one, so I'm going to bring this Wreath back in from the other one who's got more pieces. So that'll be good. Okay, we're going to go off screen for just a minute and layer these up, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're going to start by showing you how we positioned these. We've got everything all layered up. Now you may find that on the sample cards that we've shown you already and the ones that we're doing now, that the layering might be different. That's okay. Because like I said, there's no magic formula for the layering, guys. You're going to just do what feels good and what you think looks good, and there's many different ways to having it look good. So don't worry about that. If your layering is a little different than mine, that's cool. As long as you have a nice number of layers on each piece, it really doesn't matter which ones you choose to put where. Now this one's on its own card. We're going to just we're going to pull a sneaky, and we're actually going to cut this frame out of here and put this on this background. This one, we only get one sheet of cardstock to be our backgrounds for these. So on this one, we're going to place this. We're going to take our background piece from right here. See that? We're actually coming in just a tad, so we can catch as much of that tree over there as possible. We could come clear over here, but then we're cutting off a whole bunch of our layering. And we've got a big flat spot there. Why would we want to do this? We're going to come in a little bit. And that one's going to go there. And this one, we're going to put this right up here. And that becomes our third card. So let's start with the base layer first. I'm going to pull my card supplies down here. My card kit. I didn't go through and show you all of the component pieces of the card kit this time. Sorry about that, I forgot. But you're going to see them as we work anyway, so it really doesn't matter. These card kits will be priced in the store at $19.95. That's because you get so many more cards out of each set. This one's going to make 8. So in order to supply all the card bases and things, I have to make this just a little bit more. But 8 cards for $19.95, and they're going to be so beautiful. And with the exception of scissors and the glitter or stickles that we're using on them, or your paper trimmer, your easy tear tape, so basically your adhesives and your cutting tools, you're going to have everything you need in that kit to make all these cards, and they are truly beautiful. So I think they're pretty good value. What do you suppose you would pay for a card like this if you could actually find one in a store? My guess is that it's going to be more than the $2.50 or so that you're going to pay by making cards using one of these kits. What do you think? 2-3 times that amount? I'm pretty sure you couldn't buy one of these for less than $5 to $6, and I think depending on where you bought it, it could be considerably more. So, pretty good value. Okay, now I want to keep these corner pieces right where they are. I just think that looks really pretty. So I'm going to come in here, guys, and I'm actually cutting away. Actually, I want this side of my gold. That's what I'm doing here. I'm actually cutting this, just this side of the gold line, and I'm going to leave myself about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. I eyeball it. If you'd prefer to use a paper cutter, you can, but I don't like to measure anything I don't have to. So I just eyeball it. And I'm going to place this right here. And this card is going to be finished. I am going to use glue for this job. The reason I'm choosing glue is because I have these pop-out pieces I don't want to get away. So I'm going to put a little glue on the backs of those. Put a little glue on the back of this. I'm just going to make sure everything that I want staying to my paper has a little bit of glue on it. I want my frame to stay down, so I'll put a little on my frame. Now I can use this glue really liberally because I have that super fine nozzle on there that keeps me from over applying my glue. And I do love that. Give this just a little more on the main topper. Okay. Now I'm going to center this on my card. How easy is that? Now, if you happen to get any tiny glue lines, like I just did, while it's wet, sometimes just wipe it away. Or you can take a baby wipe and clean that up very easily. But I just wiped mine away and look how clean that looks. That's our first card finished. We're going to stickle when we're done here. Okay, next up, let's take our paper trimmer and I'm going to take a little bit off this outer edge for this 5x7 I want to make.
About how much?
I just cut off the flat part. So I came clear up to where the edge of my foliage was there. And so what's that end up being? It's about a little over a quarter, maybe 3/8. And then I'm going to come in here. And I still trimmed a tiny little piece of my tree, but it wasn't bad. So I've got that ready to do my 5x7. And I'm going to come over here. And I want this. I'm actually just going to put this on my card and cut it. I need a 5x7 for this one. And get a... Nope. Brittany asked me, you gotta organize your materials before you start. I said, no, I think everything's right at hand here. Brittany, I probably should have organized my materials before I started.
They were organized before he started pulling stuff out. Oh well.
Okay, let's see. Oh, this is what I did. Okay, so I'm going to take my tape, put it on the back of here. 3 rows like I usually do. Rip them down, peel them off, peel them off. Let go. Okay. And now I'm going to position my cardstock so that the pattern is in the upper right-hand corner. Flip this over. I got that just a little bit low. Let's trim it down and see how it looks. I may put a border there. I should have checked it from the front before I put it down. hard, but I'm not sure that's going to be enough to even be concerned with. Let me look here. See, that was when I put my image on. This image is going to go clear to the bottom to allow room for the cathedral and tree to kind of breathe a little bit at the top. I think that's going to be fine. I'm going to go ahead and put some foam squares on this one. As soon as I figure out what I did with them. There. Brittany's laughing at me, guys.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I heard that little snicker. I heard it. Brittany's been making all kinds of beautiful, beautiful, beautiful holiday wreaths this year. She made a gorgeous one for her grandmother for her birthday. She made some wonderful wreaths for Halloween and for Thanksgiving. She has been a busy crafter this year. Her wreaths are just beautiful.
Thanks. I like them.
She did some of our wreaths in her wreath class. She did two, actually. She did one for her home and one for her grandma in her wreath class. And then she did two that were made using netting and decorative supplies and even the frames from the Dollar Tree store. She made a wonderful Thanksgiving one and a wonderful Halloween one. How are you going to store those? You're just going to put them in a bag and put them in the garage?
I'm going to see if I can find cheap wreath boxes the day after Christmas.
Ah, okay.
So, we'll see how that goes.
Will they fit in these ones we have here?
I'm not sure.
These are the wreaths that she did with the netting material from the dollar store. Very poofy.
They are.
Very voluminous. There we go. There's this one. Okay. So we have this one. This one. Now let's go ahead and do this one. We're going to simply fold our card. We're going to put our cardstock down to this. We'll trim off our extra. And then all we have left to do after this one is do some stickles on these. And we'll move to our next kit. We stuck that down, trimmed off a little extra. We're going to bring in off our base sheet. We're going to bring in this wonderful Peace and Goodwill to one and all. And we also have this great Glad Tidings. And I think our sky is big enough to pull off both of those. So we're going to put these down. And then we're also going to fill some of this space by just stickling a little or glittering a little. And you can do this either with the stickles, that happens to be what I'm using this time, but you can just as easily do this, guys, with our ultra high quality glitter and a quickie glue pen or one of our super fine tips on our glue bottles, and you can still get great results using those. So use what you have. One of the reasons I decided to use stickles is that I knew that a lot of people had and regularly used those. So I thought, yeah, why don't I just demonstrate a supply that you might have. If you need more, we have them. We also brought in some really big glitter glue bottles from the Netherlands. I wanted to try them. They're like a 3-ounce bottle. And I can tell you that they are glitter glue, they are iridescent, they are quite pretty. I think you get a little bit more shine from the stickles, but if you are making an enormous number of cards, you can see that on my original I trimmed that down, I didn't trim this one. This is the difference in what you're going to get. I think either way is fine. If you're making a ginormous number of cards, those great big bottles of glitter glue might be a nice option for you. But the stickles definitely are, in fact, a little more sparkly than the others. We're going to go off camera for a minute. We're going to sparkle these up and we'll be right back. Okay, while we were off camera, I was stickling these, and for this first one, I thought I'd go ahead and show you some of the differences. For this first one, this is the one that I used. It's called Crystal, and it's got kind of blue-green highlights, so it's definitely kind of more cool highlights in this one. Now, we have lots of different colors, and all the colors are going to be pretty. I will say these little stickles right around here, right around the lamp, that's actually done in diamond because I forgot myself and then I was doing different ones and I reached back and put some stickles in the sky. Oops. But if you look at the tree and stuff, you can see the blue-green coloring of the glitter on that one. We're going to look at these again when they're dry. These are still wet. This one is done with the diamond stickles. Now you're probably wondering, what is that big cap she's got on top there? And I want to show you that because it's a nifty tool that we have in the store. Now the normal stickles bottle has a nice little dispenser cap that's actually fairly small and pretty easy to use. But if you, like I, have some that are older, sometimes they start kind of jamming up in that cap, and then they get harder to use. Don't throw them away. Think about getting one of these reusable caps for it. This is what I just did with my diamond. This was an older bottle that I had in stock. You'll get fresh bottles from us, but this is an older bottle that I had in stock, and it was jamming, so I cut the tip of it clear off. And then I used this little cap by Scrap Perfect. It is a needle nose cap, and it's really neat because you can reuse this with any product that can be cleaned up with soap and water. I'm going to take this piece off, and it's got that nice long needle tip in there. You can each cap comes with two tips, one that's wider and one that's narrower. And the really cool thing about that is if you look inside this cap, and you might need to show it to them, Brittany, so that they can see it. See the needle in there? That goes down inside this tip. When you close the bottle, you screw it in place, and it keeps your material from drying in that long needle nose tip. So when you're ready to use it again, you just pop this cap off and you're set to go. And this is a really, really nice way to salvage a bottle of stickles or paints or other things that have become hard to use with the dispenser cap that it comes with. And you can salvage those, and you can also then seal your bottle up nice and tight. So this card was done with the diamond. Now the diamond actually has warmer highlights, which you would think would not look great on an outdoor scene, but I actually think they look marvelous. I think diamond might be my favorite color of the glitter glues to use because I really like the warmth of the sparkles. I think it's really, really pretty. Now our third card is done with those. This is called Glitz glitter glue. This is the one I told you I got from the Netherlands. It's by Do Crafts. It's a gigantic bottle. You get, how many ounces? 120 milliliters, which is roughly 4 ounces in a bottle for only slightly more than the cost of a Stickles. But that volume doesn't come without some sacrifice. This is the card that I used that with, and I think you'll notice right off that the cool that I used, or the crystal I used on this one, and the Do Craft brand, you get a lot more initial sparkle from this one. Now what I'm curious about is when this dries, how do the two compare when dry? So we're going to show you those in a minute. You will notice I put another one of my fancy schmancy caps on here. This has a large cap, and I used it because the cap that came with this bottle was a big old nozzle, and I wanted a clearer line. But because this is more of a gel than these are more liquidy. This is more of a gel. I used the wider tip. Remember I told you that each one comes with a wider and a smaller tip? I used the wider, and it still gives you a little bit of a hand workout when you're trying to put the, when you're putting on the gel. It does give you a little bit of a squeeze to get that out of there, but that's the third one. So we'll look at the results when we're done. Okay, next we're going to do the train set, and that is called Santa's Express. And boy, I don't know what it is about trains, but everything that we have that's train related tends to be really popular with our families. Of course, I know the guys in our family really like trains, so I guess maybe that's a universal thing, I'm not sure. But you can, on the trains, because the images are really, really large, I only did 2 cards of the train in order to get the layering that I wanted to get. I'll use the base sheet for one layer. I'll use the train here for another. And you can see that these are really big pieces. So in order to get at least 2 larger pieces of train, I'm just going to pop these out and just share them between the 2. And because there are then going to be a lot of pieces, you really, really don't have to be too fussy about which images go where. Just kind of distribute them evenly between the 2 and you're going to be just fine. Remember, before popping off these extra pieces, make sure that it's included in the background you've chosen. Here, I've got this big, beautiful Santa here, but all these pieces are so large that there just aren't a huge number of pieces in this particular set. They are fun though. There's my 3 images there. There's my 3 layers there. I got this beautiful little dog. He's gorgeous. I think each side needs a dog, don't you, Brittany?
Yes.
Everybody needs a lab. Probably every household needs a lab, really.
Just a dog in general.
Just a dog in general, that's true. I've got my Teddy here in the classroom. He is behaving quite nicely over there.
So far.
Being quiet and not barking or whining. He's growing up to be a really sweet puppy. Although today he did dart out the door when they had a lunch delivered, and he darted out the door, and he was not on Lauren's favorite list when she was out in her bare feet. chasing him around the houses immediately surrounding our house, trying to get him corralled and headed back where he was supposed to be. That did not make him popular. Okay, so let me just show you what the pieces are we've selected, and then we'll go off camera, we'll layer these up. So for this side, let's see, we're going to use these pieces here, and for this side we will get lots of pieces either way, guys. Oops, I just saw there's the dog. 2, 3, 4, 5. I think one of these needs to come back. 5. I think it could go either way. Oh, this is the Festivus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's move this bumper for the train over to that one. Okay, we're going to go off camera, we'll layer these up, and we'll be right back. Okay, I wanted to show you the layout of the cardstock here, because since we're going to have 2 big cards, it's kind of close. This clearly is going to be one here, and we're going to take this piece right here for our card. This one, we're going to actually take this piece of cardstock from right here, just below where the snow starts and just above the railroad track. And we're going to get this nice colored piece of card from right here. So you don't want to overcut this one because you want to be able to get that one out of here, okay? That's where those are coming from. So let's go ahead and take this one out. I'm going to start, since my card is going to be 5 by 7, and I want fairly wide margins on this, I'm going to go ahead and cut this to, just to give myself as much room as I possibly can, let me cut this to sort of a little over 1/4 of an inch. Let's see, 7. I'm going to cut this to 6. I think that'll look good. 6 1/4 inches. That gives me an extra 1/4 of an inch on this other piece to give me a little extra room there. And then I'm going to cut this one so that my margins will be similar. I'm going to cut this one to 4 1/4. And that's just going to give me extra wide borders. I've already covered my cards. Let's see, that's going to fit really nicely there now. So we'll glue that in place and this card will be done. Next, we're going to take this one. Oops, I do still need that. And I want to cut this piece such that I don't get more of that than necessary. Can you still see me on camera, Brittany?
Yes.
Okay.
But we can't read the thing, so you're
The
going to have to
numbers,
tell us how
so
much.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to make this one about 6 1/4 also. Just a little over 6 1/4. And use as much of that as I can without the snow showing. And I will make this one a little between, I'm going to make this like 4 3/8. And let's see how this works for me. I should be able to put this one here. Let's pop this out and see how we did. That's going to be just right. See there? We get a nice green border all the way around, and then we get the nice gold border around that. And we get some nice, even, pretty borders there. So we'll glue those in place, and these will be done except for stickling them. So, oh, and we also, on this one, I also used this tag here. So let's bring in this Festive Wishes tag here. I think I'll put that up on some foam squares. And those two cards will be finished. Okay, we'll put just a little bit of glitter on these because it's not a particularly snowy scene, although the ground's snowy. And I think the top of the cab it's got a little snow, so I just kind of followed some of the little indents and things in the snow and put a little bit of sparkle here and there, just enough to get a little bit of glitter in it. Okay. Our next set's called Festive Delivery. A little robin redbreast sitting on a English mailbox. This is a really fun set because you can really get into the glittering on this outdoor scene. And we got 3 beautiful cards out of one set. We did add an extra piece of paper to this kit. If you buy the card kit from us, we are including a sheet or a half sheet of beautiful green silk paper, and that will contribute to being able to stretch this into 3 cards. If you don't use this, then you'll need to bring in just another piece of pretty paper that you like. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, this kit is called Festive Delivery. We've got that pretty little red robin and sitting atop a English mailbox. We're going to use this as one base layer, obviously. We're going to use this cardstock as one base layer. We'll make sure we get an image of a house added to that one. And then we're going to choose another very complete layer. Maybe this one as our other base piece. This one has a really nice complete image of the house. So we're going to add this one to this piece that didn't have a house. Now we've got 3 good starts. We're going to put this one over on that base layer. A little tricky to punch this one out with those fence posts. Just take your time though, it'll come out okay. Go. We'll put him over there. We'll add this one. This piece here on this end. That gives us 2 layers there. So we've got 2, 2. Okay. Come on. There we go. 3 layers on that one. Three layers on that one. Three layers on that one. Okay, I have a roof and a robin left. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, we already had 4. 4 on that one. We have 3 here. We have 3 here. That gives me 3. I've got 3. I've got 3. We're good on everybody. Okay. And then I'm going to want this tag. Keep that out. There's some really cute little robin. We'll put him inside one of the cards. Also have a sent with love. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the layers we have for each one. This one just has the 3, but it's going to be okay. It's going to give us 3 layers on that card. This one has 4 pieces. It's got 3 layers on the robin. This one has 3 layers on the robin and 1 layer on the house. Let's go off camera while we layer these up. We'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. We have layered these up with foam squares. We've changed camera people. Bryce is here now. Say hi, Bryce.
Hello.
He always loves it when I have him do that. And we are just about ready to put our cards together. I'll warn you, I got both Teddy and Bentley here in the shop today. So if you hear puppy sounds, it's just happy puppies. So, okay. I've gone ahead and put these on my backgrounds. Now, as we know, this is my base sheet. Here's my first card, and I'm going to take this off this lower corner, and I'm going to take my other one. And you can see that I positioned this over a piece of the fence here. The only way you can even tell that there wasn't a background there is that I have these little fence posts. I don't care about that. I didn't think it mattered at all. And my sample card, here was my sample. So I'm just going to cut that out. I'm going to back it with some silver mirror board, and we're going to create our topper out of that one. So let's go ahead and get started here. We'll start with this base one. For the base card, I have taken my piece of, or my 5x7 card, and I have covered that normally with a piece of this, this green silky paper. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh, I love this stuff. You got all that veining in there and the different colors, and it just sparkles, this beautiful paper. I used a half sheet of this in this kit because, as you know, we are only getting 1 piece of cardstock in these backgrounds. And in order to get 3 cards, I needed some more background paper. So I'm going to cut my border off of my backing sheet here. We're going to use that at the top of our card. We're going to just place our topper down here. And I'm going to use, let's see, is it on here? No. What do I do with them? Oh, there. I'm going to use this piece from my punch-out sheet. Distance means so little when someone means so much. That's pretty. Now, just a reminder, we've talked about this before with this silky paper, but you want to use glue with the silky paper because the foam squares and tape just don't hold real well on the silk. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this one down. There's just something about this silky texture that doesn't hold the tape or the foam squares very well. So, but it's beautiful, so we put up with it. I'm going to put this one centered about right here. I'm going to put this strip down with some, this is really cute, it has little snowman images on this ribbon. I had it upside down. Let's put it right side up. That would be fun. Just for kicks, we'll put it right side up. Okay. Whoops. Still trying to put it upside down. Okay, I have enough glue on there. Looks like I need a little bit more. Okay. Here we go. And we'll put this here. Puppy's having a snack there. You can hear the crunch, crunch, crunch. Okay. And I'm gonna put some foam squares on it, but I'm going to hand me those if you wouldn't mind. But I'm going to put glue on it as well as my foam squares on this one. So in order to overcome the fact that this doesn't like to hold the glue, I'm going to do something I wouldn't normally do, and that is I'm going to put an extra foam square in the middle of this little piece, and that can help hold it because this will be resting on the border. And then I'm going to put a little spot of glue on top of each of these other foam squares, and that's going to hold really well. It's not going to go anywhere. So seemed counterintuitive to put glue on self-adhesive foam squares, but just on the 4 of those, on the other one, I'll let it rest on the label or the border, and then that's going to hold really well. Okay, trim off our extra. And with my glue, let's try to lift just a little there. Come back in here and trim that a little tighter. There we go. I'll glitter that up in a minute and show you what it looks like. Next, let's take our piece off of this end. I'm going to use a regular European A6. Again, that's roughly 4 by 6. I'm going to just take a look at how that's going to position there. I think that's actually going to fit pretty well, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there. I just realized I made a little blunder, but that's okay. We'll compensate. The little blunder was this. Well, no, actually, maybe I can still make it work. See, I wanted to use the little snowman here, too. I'm not certain I'll have enough, but it's possible that I will, because I only need a little piece. I just need enough that it's going to reach to the edges, because it doesn't matter if it goes under my tag. I think we're going to be okay with that one. Let's go ahead and put this. Put a piece of silver mirror board behind here. I'm going to take my cardstock. I'm going to cut my image down just a little bit to allow my mirror board to show. I'm going to cover my card. Make sure you catch if I'm going off camera, honey. Put that on there. Trim around it. Again, I don't use a trimmer for this. I just use my long blade scissors. Get way down in the middle and the end of your scissors, and the less wax you have to take at it, the more even it's going to look when you're done. Bring my trimmer back in. And I know that my card is 4 1/8 wide. Can you see here? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to trim this image to be 3. I want it to be 3 7/8. Oh, my battery sound. Okay, I'm going to start by trimming right along the edge here. And then I'm going to see where is the best place to trim this to get down to the size I want. Because it's at about 4 1/4 now, so it's going to have to go a little smaller. I'm going to come in a little bit from each side. Take a little bit off that side. And I'm going to take just a little bit off this side. With a good paper cutter like these Caterpillars, you can actually go right through all those layers. And that looks great. Okay, and I'm going to make this 5 5/8 long. because I know that my card is 5 7/8 long, which should give me a border at the top and the bottom. I'm going to take off just a little bit more. That's looking good. I think we'll go ahead and go with that right there. So I'm going to put some tape on here. Now remember our tape flags. We're going to run 2 rows of tape. And then I'm going to pull a flag out to either side. And just like that, that will help me in centering. I know you've seen this technique lots of times. When I have people in class, though, they tell me this is one of the favorite techniques that people coming to my beginner's classes find to be just the most valuable, is using the tape flags to center things. Actually, not just my beginner's classes, even seasoned card makers who haven't seen that thinks that's pretty special to do that. I'm going to cut this little snowman tag in half. Set these out. And I think I'm going to be okay. We'll see if I have enough. I want this wishing you a Merry Christmas off this sheet. Let's see how we do. It's going to work just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some glue down on these little tabs, or tape. I think I'll glue them. That gives me a little bit of wiggle room. My snowmen are right side up. And I want this to be down around here. I'm not going to measure this, I'm going to eyeball it. If you're not comfortable just eyeballing it, you can measure that down. I'd say it's going to be about 5/8 of an inch from the top of the topper. Probably 3/4 of an inch from the, maybe 7/8 from the top of the paper. That looks pretty good. I'm going to put a couple foam squares on this one. As soon as I figure out what I did with them, I'll use the trimmer. Put about 3 foam squares on here. Not worried about them sticking here because they stick great to cardstock. Only paper you got to worry about is that silky paper. But that silky paper is so beautiful that it's absolutely worth the extra effort to glue things to it. I'm going to center this over my border. Check for my measurements. And that looks pretty good. Oh, I slid that one a little bit with my tag when I put it on. And I made it unstraight again when I moved it. Here. You go back where I want you. That's the beauty of glue, though, because I actually can slide this back in place a little bit. There we go. And I like that. That's good. Okay, this one's done. Beautiful. We'll glitter that one up in a minute. And we have one more to go. We're going to do this gatefold card. You will have enough paper to do this. You will not have enough paper to add this extra. I only put that on there because I had a spare sheet sitting here. But if you buy the kit, you will have this piece left from covering your card, and this is a perfect amount to use for our gatefold card. So I'm going to trim my little extra piece off of there. Then I'm going to, this piece is 1.5 inches long. I'm going to cut it to 3/4 of an inch. So that I have equal amounts for both of my sides. So I've got those ready to go. And I have this. I'm going to trim this down. Let's see, what's the size of our card base again? The card base I'm including in your kit is pre-scored. So folding in on the score lines. And most of these will be pretty good. They are handmade, so if you find that there's any little imperfections, just fix them up. That one was just a little too wide, but now it's perfect. So I'm going to glue these two strips here and here. So I'll go ahead and do that. There's no worry about having them stick with the back of the paper. It's only to the front of the paper that we have problems with things sticking. So I'm going to put a little glue here, out to the side.
So you could have used tape.
I could have used tape here, sure. I just have my glue bottle sitting in front of me. Good question, honey. Definitely could have. And then I'm going to glue this other one. One of the things I like to do when I'm making a gatefold card is I like to hold it together and butt the two pieces up right side by side. And that way, if there's any discrepancy at all in the closure, you know, in having those papers coming together, these can kind of compensate for that. So I'm going to glue that. I'm going to take this paper and I'm going to butt it right up against where it joins. And that's going to give me, now even though, you see just a little bit, here we go. You see just a little white area there. We'll pull that in yet. This is the opposite problem that most of them have. This particular one is just a little overlapping, where in a lot of cases they don't quite join with a gatefold card, but that technique of butting them up side by side will make sure they do join. In this one, one's going to cross over the other one just a little bit, so I want the white to be covered. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Okay, trim those off. Now I'm going to trim my topper out. This card is going to be just short of 5 by 5. So I'm going to make this, I think I'm going to make my topper 4 by 4. So I've got, I'll start here. I'm going to trim this outside edge just a tiny bit. And I like that. Now I'm going to come 4 wide. By 4 tall. I took just the very top of the smokestack or the chimney off. That's going to be okay. That looks good. Then I've got this silver piece, and I'm going to take about 1/8 of an inch in width off my silver piece, because I don't want this any wider than it has to be, but I'd like a little border, a little metallic border around here. See, that looks great. And that little bit of mirror board showing just really adds something. And I'm going to cut this so that I have just a tiny edge at the top too. I'm going to glue this in place or tape it. If I tape it, I'm going to use my tape flags. I'm going to just glue it. That's the other thing you can do if you're gluing. You can slide it just a little bit, so that can be a good way to go too. And get just enough glue on there to glue it and be able to slide it just a tad if it needs it. I think we should be pretty close though. I don't think I need to slide it at all. I think it went on just right the first time. Okay, push that in place. Now, I want to take some of my scrap and I'm going to cover these edges, these edge pieces. So I'm going to start by putting some tape on my card here. I'm going to put 2 rows of tape, one next to my green and one at the edge of my card. Come in. There we go. And then I'm going to slide this in up next to my green paper, right up to it. And I'm going to trim that. I'm going to come in on the other side. And it is going to just barely fit, guys, but it is going to fit. And I'm going to put another little piece here, tape it here, tape it here. And just a hint, rather than using my hand cut edges, I am matching this such that the trimmer edge is against this, because as good a job as I do of cutting with my scissors, I'm still not going to be as straight as it is with a trimmer. So since I'm trying to butt up against another piece of paper, I'm going to use the trimmer cut edge instead of my hand cut edge. My hand cut edge is out to the other side. I'm going to clip this off. Here we go. It's still just a little rough there. Let go. Okay. And I'm going to place my bird so that it is that only this side is attached. I'm going to. Okay, well, we ran out of batteries there, but we're back. And while we were gone, I went ahead and glittered this up. Now, just for comparison's sake, I wanted to show you the difference between doing glitter with the Quickie glue pen and that ultra high quality glitter that we have in the store versus the stickles. I'm going to show you that I think these turned out very comparably. Can you see those well, hon?
Yeah, I'm zooming in. Okay.
Can you see the sparkle? I think the sparkle is very comparable between those two. So really, whichever technique you use, I think you're going to get beautiful sparkle here. Now this one is done with the Cool, which is, that's called Crystal Stickles. And this one's done with the Quickie glue pen. And let's see, yeah. So again, just wanted to give you that comparison. Now we have, this is all dry now, even though it's only been done for a minute, because this is the one I did with the Quickie glue pen. If you need to get done in a hurry, the Quickie glue pen's a better solution than the stickles, simply because it dries so much faster than the stickles does. So if you're in a hurry, go with this Quickie glue pen, or you can also use your little fine nose glue bottle, but just go really light with this, don't go heavy. I'm going to put this topper on with a combination of tape and glue. And again, the reason I'm putting some glue on here as well is because the tape just does not hold to that, won't hold well to that flap. So I'm gonna put a little bit of my glue right here on this flap, only on the left-hand side now. But I'm gonna put a little glue here to just help hold that in place. And then I've already got my tape situated on there. So I'm going to position this so that it is centered. And while we were off camera, I also took a piece of my liner paper and lined the inside and put, now you'll see this is a small piece of liner paper, but by cutting them down just a little, I could get all three of my cards lined. So here's this one. This was this one. And here's my third one, which is also done with a microfine glitter. So those are finished. I want to wrap back just because I told you we would come back and take a look at the results of our experiment from earlier on these cathedral cards. Let's take a look at the results we got with these. This one here is done with the crystal, and you got beautiful shine. Now I did kind of mess up and put some of the diamond stickles up here just because I got a little carried away after I got done. I stuck some snow in the sky, not realizing I grabbed a different bottle, but it's still pretty good for a comparison. So this is the crystal, kind of cool highlights. Here's one by comparison done with the diamond, which is the warm highlights. And even though this is done with warm highlights, I gotta tell you, I really, really like this. I think the diamond is maybe my favorite even for the outside scenes, because what it seems to me that you get is almost the look of reflected warm light. It's beautiful. And third, I want to show you what we got with this big bottle, this big Glitz bottle. And I gotta say, when you compare this, which is similar highlights and tones, to this, I think this one fails the glitter test. I think that this great big bottle would be good for some applications. It's more of a gel than a liquid. I think this would be great on big projects. Like we've been doing a lot of wreaths around here, doing a bunch of classes. And I think if I wanted to go through and highlight and kind of draw a little bit on some of the flowers in my wreath, just to get a little extra sparkle, I think this would be a good way to go, because you would use so much that it wouldn't necessarily be economical to use these little bottles, but you could still get a little extra sparkle using this. So on a big project, I might go with this. It also would be a little awkward to shake off the extra glitter if you're doing a wreath, for example. So once again, because the glitter is embedded in the gel, I think this would be a good way to go on larger three-dimensional objects. But for card making, I think this fails. It failed my test anyway. I probably will go back over this again. You can see a little in the tree. You can see a little in the snow here. But I'm going to go back over the top of this and use the crystals, so that's going to give me a level of sparkle that I like. But just for the sake of doing a demonstration and learning more about the product, I think it was a good test. And the answer was, this is way far and above better product than the Glitz is. So if you've enjoyed this video and you want to see more, be sure you hit that subscribe button. Better yet, down in the comments section, we have a link to our newsletter. If you sign up for our newsletter, I'll let you know when we're putting up a new video, and I will link you to all of the products we used in the production of that video. So, this is Debbie from Simply Special Crafts, and we'll see you next time.